Hi, my watercolor friends. Welcome to Fort Steilacoom Park. Here we're on the edge of Lake Waugup, and we're able to go ahead and do a little bit of plein air. Here with my good buddy, Charles Burt, an amazing artist. I'm going to share his website on our tutorial here, and you can get a sense of what an incredible artist Charles is. He's now up at Gage Academy, and he's a product of Pierce College as well.
Yes.
So anyway, we're just loving every minute of this, and I'm going to send out an invite for you to maybe join the class out in the park here in the not so distant future, weather permitting, to come out and plein air paint. So we can't meet in the classroom, but there isn't any reason we can't meet out in a beautiful venue like this. So anyway, this will give you a sense of maybe one possible spot. This again is Fort Steilacoom Park, and we're just hanging out at one of the many docks that border the lake here. And now what I want to do is just pan over here. Both Charles and I are using a French box easel. And this is a great investment for those of you looking to maybe get a little bit more serious about plein air. And again, just to review, plein air is French for painting outdoors. Means to do a painting. It particularly correlates to a painting, but it has a broader term. But it basically means that you're creating work in the outdoors on location, not working from a photograph or from a screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan in here a little bit just to show you a couple of the materials. Now, the wonderful thing about watercolor is it's so portable, as you well know. So you have your palette. You'll need some kind of container or palette to hold your paints and to do some mixing. In addition to that, you're going to need a squirt bottle. So again, I just brought my favorite little travel size mister. I've brought just an Nalgene container of water with me, and that's really twofold. I mean, here we have access to water we could use to paint with, but some locations you may not. So you want to bring water, and you also, most importantly, need to stay hydrated yourself as you're painting if it becomes a hot day. In addition to that, I've introduced these before, but just as a reminder, this is one of those silicone collapsible cups that's really handy for when you're doing plein air work, because you can stow it away in your backpack and it doesn't take up a lot of space. Here I just have a really simple pencil case that I organized a couple of clips, which I'll demonstrate here in a moment how handy those can be. I have my trusty kneaded eraser. I have a drawing device, something like a mechanical pencil. I happen to bring a Sharpie today because I'm going to do that for the camera, because I know it shows up a little bit better, just so you can see the basic outline. And in addition, I'm going to introduce you to something that we haven't talked about yet in this class, and it's not in your kit. It's something that you can add on in addition to the materials if you feel so inclined. And I have to admit, it's not something I use often, but I happen to have a pad that I haven't got to. This is an Arches 140-pound cold press pad. This paper is the same as what comes in your kit. This one just happens to be laminated, kind of like a sketchbook, if you will. So you can see the difference is it's laminated on all four sides. So it's called a watercolor block. And so with a block, the nice thing is you don't necessarily need a backing board. But the disadvantage is you can only paint on one sheet at a time, and then once it's done and dry, you can peel it off. So the nice thing is, since it's sealed on all four sides, it's essentially a stretched piece of paper. So it might buckle a little bit as you're painting, but over time it's going to dry flat. And a lot of plein air watercolorists like to use this. So again, I'll just show you what the cover looks like. And it comes in various weights and textures. So again, you can get this in hot press or cold press, etc. Different poundage, anywhere from 140 to about 300 pounds. But anyway, they're comparable in price when you divide out the surface area to say the sheets. Now, if we look back at Charles here, Charles just happens to be using a sheet of watercolor paper. Let me pan back over there. I know we're going to get Academy Award nominations for this camera work right here. I can feel it. But anyway, if we pan out over here, another option is you can just use some tape, any kind of backing surface like a piece of cardboard or a piece of masonite will work just fine, and then you can set yourself up. So, wow, that's pretty cool. It's off camera, but we just had a bass that jumped up right here. in front of us. So that's kind of the cool thing about plein air. You just don't know what's going to happen. So that's another alternative in terms of getting set up. It could be a clipboard, it could be something really small, because again, on these thumbnails you're going to be working somewhere in the neighborhood of 4x6 or larger. It's up to you. All right, well, that should be enough information to get you in the know in terms of how to set up for this assignment. Roll of masking tape, Charles has got there, and that isn't a bad reminder too, to maybe stow away in your kit if you're going to work with that sort of system. But just use whatever means you have to get going, and you can keep it real simple. You can find a park bench. You don't necessarily have to have an easel like we do here. So, okay, well, I'm going to sign off, get started on a plein air watercolor, and bring you back here for a little tutorial. All right, thanks, my friends. Keep up the sketching. Talk to you soon. All right.